Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. I think we're like, yay, we're live. I've actually done this blog once already to a blank screen. Wish I'd recorded it. It was quite good. So I'm back again, doing another Wellbeing Wednesday, a lot later in the day than I'd intended. Ended up teaching a surprise class today, which I'd forgotten about. And that was an exercise in how quick can you get all the equipment ready. So that was good. So I'm on. Yeah, everything's on. So how are you? How is your day gone? How is your week gone since we were last on here? What's new for you? I sat down prior to this and just had a little meditation because I wanted to stay within that idea of Wellbeing Wednesday. And the words that came to mind were just be you. And I thought, oh, that's always a good one, isn't it? And how apt, because I've been writing a blog today on permission, which is going out for my October emailing and on my social media posts. And so I was thinking a lot about permission today, and it's been something I've danced with my whole life. And when I first started to write the blog, I was thinking about school permission, being allowed to do this and that and breathe, and blah, blah, blah. But as I've got older, permission's become something so much more three-dimensional and so much more connected to the very essence of who I am and coming from within me. And this is where the just be you thing comes in. And I know that phrase is banded around in my field, but with good reason. Because when we're not really ourselves, and we can be versions of, and there is validity in that, sometimes we have to play roles, sometimes we have different hats we wear. But it isn't until we're really truly ourselves that we really enjoy life and actually are. Well, we get to live the best life, but actually what I realise more and more is that we also get to offer our best selves to the rest of the world. And if we're offering our best self to the rest of the world, we are giving them a gift, and we're also giving not just the gift of who we are, but we're giving them the gift of you can do this too. And this is the one thing I come back to over and over again, is when we are really, really being ourselves, not only do we create permission, but we create permission for everyone else out there to do the same thing and bring forth their gifts into the world. And I really learned this strongly when I had cancer. And in order to heal from cancer, I had to go to like another place entirely. I talk about it as ripping up the floorboards of my life and myself. I had to go in and kind of evaluate every area and sort of pull it apart. I couldn't stay what I was before. I wouldn't have healed. I wouldn't be here today. And so as I do more and more of these lives and get my courses up and start writing more, I really want to bring that out. Because I think sometimes people are trying to heal from a place of, well, if I just hold on to that, well, I'm just going to hold on to that piece of myself and the way my life looks in that way. And we're not really going to heal. We're going to create something, but when your back is against the wall, which mine was, it's like what are you prepared to do? What are you prepared to do to save your own life? And I think most of us, we're not living in that experience of being up against our mortality on a daily basis, and so we don't really have to dig that deep. But I have discovered when I'm not happy, and my emotions are a massive barometer for me as to how life is going. It's usually because I'm not being myself somewhere. And I might be being a very good version. I might be doing some good things. I might be doing a lot of good things out there, and people might be benefiting a lot from it. But that will only last a certain amount of time, and then something will snap. Guaranteed. Watched it happen 20 years, nearly 20 years since I got my cancer diagnosis. Watched it happen so many times. And so I have to go back to what is really me, what is true right now, what what feels good. And sometimes it doesn't come immediately, you know. If I've been running a tape, or showing my age there, a tape for a long time, and I'm thinking specifically as I talk about this of my teaching dance, which was never intended, in going through my cancer healing, was never intended to be the whole story. It was only ever intended, movement was meant to be a part of things, and it kind of took over because I grew up with a dance background. And it went for a while and a while and a while, and it was okay, and then I started to get a bit more injured and a bit more unhappy, and everything got a bit tight, and I realised, oh, I've stopped being completely me. I'm being one part. And so I've had to kind of take that into hand and do things about it and sort of change that. And it wasn't I had sort of inklings over the last, even pre-COVID, I had inklings. I'm off the path a bit here. I'm not quite staying in alignment. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't until we COVID hit and we had lockdown and I had time to stop, and then things started to emerge. And even then, with the mixture of things going on the planet, and some people trying to get back to how things were, some people pivoting all the way forwards, and some people trying to hold a balance of two, still couldn't quite get clear. And it's really just been recently where I've started to meditate more, I've gone back to journaling. And as I've done all of that, I've started to clear space, create permission, and be able to tune back into what is really me. And it's not something I can necessarily encapsulate or could kind of say, yeah, I've got a finished product here. That's not ever going to be the case. We're always growing and changing. But what I notice in doing that sort of digging and clearing is that I start to feel a bit more like me, even if I don't know what that looks like to the rest of the world. So that's my story with it. And I think it's always good if you're not in a practice of checking in some way. It doesn't have to be that way. It's always, especially if you're feeling off kilter or you're feeling a little bit unwell. My barometers are, as I've said, emotions, but they're also health. The minute I'm out of alignment, my health will drop. It can be energy levels, it can be little niggling injuries, anything. And so then it's like, oh, right, the alarm bells go off. Okay, it's time to check back in. So it's about just being you this week. Are you being you? Or are you being a censored version of yourself? You know, so like partly yourself. One of the reasons I wanted to do these Facebook Lives is to get to a place of being uncensored, so I can really start to get out there the things that I believe, particularly around health and well-being. And if my words touch you, great. You know, go use them to change your life, change yourself, feel better in yourself, great. And if not, let them go. Doesn't matter to me. I'm doing this for me as much as I'm doing it for everyone else. So my prayer for you in moving forward is be you. And maybe just have a little look over the next few days. Is there something else you can do to be more yourself? You know, it doesn't have to be a major life shift. But is there something? Just have a little check-in. Close your eyes for 5 minutes. Get your journal out. Write a few lines. Go for a run. Whatever your thing is. Just take a moment and check in. And I tell you, that inner part of you will be so happy to hear you. It's like, she's listening. And enjoy what you find. Take it out into the world. Share your joy. Touch the people whose lives you're involved in. And take one more step with us to create a better world. And I'm going to leave it right there. So have a great week, and I will see you next week.